What is compounding? That is the most common question that I get asked when I meet somebody for the first time. Hi, my name is Melanie, and I've been working at Key Compounding Pharmacy since 1995. I got my pharmacy technician license in 1998, and in 2004, I got my pharmacy sterile compounding license. So today, we're going to be shooting an educational video on what compounding is. So what is compounding? Compounding is the mixing of 2 or more ingredients to create a custom prescription for a patient. We do all kinds of compounding here. We do bioidentical hormones, we do chemical sensitivity, dentistry, dermatology, manufacturer shortages, pain management, sterile compounding, amino acids, and many more. We do many different forms. We do suppositories, we do troches, many different forms of creams and lotions. We do sublingual drops. Also, in our sterile compounding area, we do injections, inhalations, eye drops, eye ointments. And so today, I'm going to be showing you, not only talking to you about these things, but I'm going to show you how we make capsules and creams, some different pieces of equipment that we use to make custom prescriptions. Also, I'll be showing you suppositories. So I hope that this educational video will give you a better understanding of what compounding is. Thank you. Hello. So right now I'm going to be showing you how we make capsules here at Key Compounding Pharmacy. The very first step that you need to do is make sure that you have the proper protective equipment on. Anything that we compound here, we always make sure that we gown up before we touch anything. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So first, I already have my hairnet on, so it's important that you have your hair tied back. If you have a beard, you have a beard guard on, and make sure that it's pretty much as tight as possible. You don't want any of your hair anywhere. So the next step is we put booties on our feet, so that way any sort of dirt or anything will be trapped inside of the booties and not be tracked all over the lab floor. The next step is putting on your lab coat. Long sleeve lab coats. You want to make sure that you don't get anything on your arms or on your wrists. The next step is the gloves. And you want to make sure that you get your sleeves inside the gloves. That way it'll stay tucked in for you. And then the last step is your mask. So just like that. But I'm going to actually take my mask off so I can talk to you while I'm explaining to you what I'm doing. What I'm making in here is a completely placebo capsule. So there's no active ingredient in this capsule that I'm going to make. So it's not going to harm me in any way. And so we have different capsule sizes that we use, ranging from a 00 capsule, which is our biggest capsule. So you can see the biggest one on the end, to the smallest one that's a number 3 size capsule. So depending on what it is that we're making, if it's a 500 milligram capsule, that's a lot of active ingredient, and so we're probably going to put it into a big capsule. If it's a microgram, then we're going to put it in the smaller capsule. So we can do any sort of microgram up to about 500 milligrams into the biggest size capsule. If you need 1,000 milligrams that you need to take, then you would take 2 of these. And so as you can see here, this is one of the capsule machines that we have. This capsule machine makes 100 capsules at a time. And so if you need to, if we get a prescription and it's only for 40 capsules, then we can actually tape off the machine and only have 40 of these holes exposed and make only 40 capsules for the patient. And so now I'm going to show you how we set up this machine. So it requires these 2 plates here, and they have notches on the tops, so you put them together like so. Then the white plate goes on the top, the darker plate goes on the bottom, the notches are facing towards you, and then you slide them in to the capsule machine. Then the next step is to flip this up and pull these in, and these loosen and tighten. So then the next step is the same concept with this. There's a little notch here. That notch goes towards you. So then we put that on. Then we have these little notches up above. So now we've got our machine set up. We're ready to put capsules in it and load it. So in this is our loader. So we also have the same concept here. We have the white top plate and the black bottom plate with the little notches. So then we're going to open this up and we're going to slide the black plate on the bottom, white plate on the top, and then we push this up so that it locks the plates in place. So then the next step is to dip your machine in there and shake the capsules around. This machine holds 50 capsules. So basically we have to do this twice. So all of them are there, they're all loaded. So then we place it on the machine and it goes from one side to the other. So whenever you put it on there, you have to make sure you put it all the way to one side. Then with your fingertips, you pull the white plate down. I bounce it, it allows the capsules to fall down into the machine. You lift it up and then press on it. Sometimes they pop out, that's okay, and you just put them back in there. So now that we have that 50 done, do the same thing again. Load up our machine, got it full. Slip it to the other side, tap on it, and then press your capsules down. Okay, so then now we're not going to use that again. So then we have this top plate here, and this actually sits on the top because this is going to allow us to separate the top of the capsules from the bottom of the capsules. So then we screw this into place, then we tighten our knobs because we want these capsules to be tight in there because we want to separate them. So then this top plate, put your fingers on these notches and pull up on this top plate. And so now we have separated the caps from the bottoms. So then we just set that aside. And so depending on the size capsule that you're making, we have little adjusters here. So it'll lower this plate. So when I'm making this 00 capsule, these are going to be adjusted almost down to the very bottom. But we're doing number 3s, which are the smallest capsule. And so we're gonna, it's actually already set for number 3. So our next step is to loosen these knobs again. And with my spatula, I'm gonna push the capsules down into the machine. Make sure that it's smooth and they're flush. We don't want any capsules to be higher than any other ones. So my next step, again, is to tighten the machine. Let's pop it out. It's to tighten the machine. Okay. So now, in here, I have the placebo powder that's in this thing. It is weighed out specifically for 100 capsules. So I'm going to pull off this lot label. Every single thing that we make in a compounding lab has a lot label assigned to it. It tells you what it is, it tells you the lot number, it tells you the expiration date, and so on and so forth. So I'm actually going to put it on my dram vial. So I'm going to put my completed capsules in this. These right here, so if you're making a capsule and there's just a lot of powder and you just can't get it all in there, these actually will push the powder down to make it so that you can put more powder into the capsules. We have different ones that we can use too. So if we're making a smaller quantity, if we're only doing maybe 20 capsules, you might want to use this one and just push down. But so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we actually make the capsules. So then take my powder, I put it on the machine, set that aside. So then one hand is on the machine, other hand spatula. The most important thing about making capsules is making sure that you spread this powder evenly throughout all 100 capsules. And this takes a very, very long time in the training process. When you first get hired here, you don't just come in and start making prescription capsules. You start off with this powder right here. You start off making placebo capsules. And so usually what we will do is we will weigh out 10 of these jars, and they will watch the compounding technician first. They will watch them make the capsules. They will learn how the different techniques that we use here at Key Compounding. Then they come over here, they learn how to do it, and then after that, see how I'm so you have to bounce the machine in order to get the powders in, to make the powder fall. And so when they're learning this, they're watching us do this, and then they start doing it as well. And so to ensure their accuracy, so once they finish a set of 100 capsules, then 10 capsules are weighed on the scale, the average comes out, and they need to be within plus or minus 10%. But here at Key Compounding, we shoot for 5%. So they need to make 10 of these in a row in a 5% margin. So this takes quite a while, quite a lot of training, and quite a lot of placebo capsules for people to get as fully caught up as possible. So I just continue to bounce the machine to make sure that all the capsules are completely evenly mixed. Go back and forth, move the powder back and forth. So you can see when I bounce the machine, it allows the powder to fall deeper and deeper into the capsule. So then, just keep going. When people first start to learn how to do this, it'll take them anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes to do their very first one. Now, I can usually make about 100 capsules in 3 to 5 minutes. So it's very difficult to work on your accuracy and then also work on your speed. So, almost there. So if there was more powder in this, if I had a bigger clump of powder, I could use this and stomp the powder down so that I can fit more in there. But that's not necessary right now. So, just gonna and then the last little bit of powder, I'm just gonna kind of squish it in there. Takes a lot of hand-eye coordination. A lot of practice. This is not something that you get good at overnight. Okay, so now, got all the powder mixed in. So now we take our lids, same thing, notch towards me, slip it on there. Just make sure that these are nice and tight. Sometimes they're a little loose and they might move over. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to loosen the machine. So now everything is, all the capsules are loose in there. So then this white plate right here, I'm going to squeeze that plate with this plate so that I'm going to connect the capsules together. So I'm going to push it up. And so now, flip it over. And so now we have 100 counted capsules. So I'm going to set this over here. And then what I'm going to do, now I'm going to lock the capsules because they're not locked yet. So I just basically push on every single one of the capsules to make sure that they're locked. And they are locked. Then our next step, spray off your hands with air. Spray off the capsules. Spray that up, sit that there. And then what I like to do is do that. So now when I do that, the powder will fall into the capsule lids. So they'll look full. Unscrew these so I can take this plate off and then flip it over. Put that back on there. And so now I have made a set of 100 capsules. So my next step, fold it over and do this. This actually helps with shining the capsules, and it makes them so that they look better. It makes the powder so it actually falls into the capsule lids even better. So then, take my vial, put them in here. Oops. That's it. That is how we make 100 capsules at Key Compounding Pharmacy. Hello. So in this segment, I'm going to be showing you how we make suppositories. So I have all of my proper gear on. I don't need a face mask on because this is also a placebo suppository. This is a cocoa-based suppository. And so, as you can see, it's in liquid form right now. When we receive the cocoa butter base, it's in a hard chunk form when we receive it. So then we actually have to melt the base down. So as you can see, we've melted the base down. We've also, after this point, when the base is melted, then we would add our active and inactive ingredient depending on the formula. So at this point, let's say we've already added our active and inactive ingredients. So now at this point, it's actually ready to be poured up into our suppository mold. So as you can see, we have all these different holes. This is a 100-count suppository mold that we have. We have some that are 60 suppositories as well. And so then you just turn off the heat, and then you turn off the stir bar. So then, this is a little magnetic rod in the bottom of this. The stir bar in here is also magnetic, which allows it to spin on this stir plate that we have. So then we just take it out. So then we slowly pour. Start with one, and just keep working your way over. It's okay if you spill a little bit, because usually when we make these, we actually make them for more than what the actual prescription is for, just in case they get spilled or if any of them break in the opening process, anything like that. So then you just keep pouring until they are filled. Okay, so as you can see, there's quite a film on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to push some of that film into empty suppositories. Just keep kind of working it in there. And over time, these suppositories will solidify, which creates the suppository. So just keep working it in. There's a little bit of time to do this. Okay, so now this is ready to set up. So we let this set up at room temperature until they're completely thick. So what I'm going to show you now is I actually have some suppositories that have been setting up. And so now you can see the color difference. These have been setting up for a good 3 or 4 hours. So I have a scraper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape the top of this off. I got to get rid of this top film on it. So this kind of creates a bit of a mess, but it's important. This takes a little bit of time. That's why we have the paper towel down too, so that it will catch any of the little flakes that come off from scraping it. So now we've properly scraped off the top. I'm actually going to move this to here. Just dump that into there, because I don't really need that. It's just extra. So now we actually have to open up the mold. So we have these little twisty knobs on here that we unscrew. Take these out. Okay, so now this is where we hope that they are not going to break when we take these out. So usually I will pull back on the top one. There's 4 segments in this one. Pull back, and then I push forward to kind of push them out a little bit, and then I'll pull back again and take it off. So then you can see the suppositories. Do the same thing. Next one. Go forward. Come back. Take them out. Back. Gotta use a little bit of strength. You just don't want to use too much, because you just want to make sure that you're not going to break the suppositories. Because without doing that motion, the suppositories are basically stuck inside the mold. So take that off. Take those out. And that time we got lucky. Not a single one of them broke. So that is great. So then, take our vial. We put our suppositories in there. And then that is how we make suppositories. So in this segment, I'm going to be showing you how to make a PLO cream that we make. We do all different kinds of bases here at Key Compounding Pharmacy. We have a Versa base, a Nat cream base, a coconut base, HRT base, Fido base. There's all different kinds of bases that we use. Some patients have allergies to things. Some patients need specific bases for different things that we make. And so we can provide that to them. In this segment, I'm going to make a PLO cream. So I have my placebo powder here. I have my wetting agent here. And then I have these 2 ingredients here that actually make the PLO bind into a PLO gel. That's what we call it. So, got my placebo powder here. Take this out. Dump this into the mortar. Don't need that anymore. And then I have my wetting agent. So then I'm going to go ahead and squirt that on in there. So now I'm going to take my spatula Just kind of move it around. Move it around. Try to get it as dissolved as possible. Some things don't completely dissolve, and so we run those things. We run about 99% of any cream or lotion that we make through a machine called an ointment mill, and I'll be showing you that in a different segment. So now I'm going to add this ingredient. Sometimes the blenders are a little tough to push. So just keep mixing. So the training process that you go through with this one, it's not as complicated as capsules. So usually the technician will watch first, and then they will do, as the other technician, the one that's training, will show them exactly what to do. So then we start squirting in our other ingredient. Now, as you can see, it's starting to thicken up. So just keep mixing it till it's all in there. So now it's all in there. This one, we're making 180 mLs of this cream. So it's a pretty decent amount of cream. So just keep mixing it, and then take your spatula, run it along the side to kind of clean off your spatula as best as possible. And then continue to mix and mix. And so now you can see that we have this really nice cream that we've made. So now typically after we get done with this, it's done, it's completely mixed. Oh, well, here it is. Put saran wrap over the top of it. And then we can take it out. And then we would take it over to the ointment mill and run it through the ointment mill, and I will explain that machine in one of the next segments. Thank you. So in this segment, I'm going to be showing you our ointment mill. As you can see, I'm properly gowned up. This machine is great for getting a smooth consistency out of a lotion or a cream or an ointment or even a sublingual drop that you're making. So I'm going to show you how we set this machine up. It's all cleaned up. Here we have adjustable rollers. So as you can see, there's 3 rollers. So this will adjust the width in between this roller right here. So you can have a thin or you can have a wider, depending on what kind of cream, lotion, ointment, sublingual drop you're milling. So in order to set these up, I always start them at level 1 because I'm not sure when I add my cream in there how it's going to come out of the machine. So what I do, I have these different pieces of equipment. So I have the milling plate. So this little thing pulls down like this, and then there's little notches on the back here that I slide the plate on. Like so. So that's on there. So then I have my guides. And so these little holes right here, I slide into here, like so. The other one. So depending on what you're making, you can do them close together, or you can push them all the way apart. Usually, if you're running something, a cream through here, and you're making a lot of it, you're going to want to open them up all the way. But if you're doing a smaller amount, you might want to close them up a little bit so you don't lose as much cream or ointment on the machine. So this is a placebo PLO. You saw me make a PLO earlier. So what I'm going to do is show you how we work the machine. So on the side we have the on-off switch. So now the rollers are constantly rolling. So what happens is I put my cream right in here. It pulls the cream down underneath this middle roller, and then the cream will come out on this roller, and then it'll come out on my plate. So I have my thing set at 1. So we're gonna see how well this cream comes out. So sometimes you have to adjust rather quickly. So, just squirt it in there. So since I'm making, I can also adjust them while it's milling. So if there was any grit in this cream, it would completely break up that grit and have a smooth consistency. So I have my spatula. So I use the tip of it. There's usually cream that builds up on the edges, like so. So then what I do, everything that we mill here, we mill it twice. Sometimes there's things that we have to mill 3 or 4 times, depending on what it is. So then I'm going to scoop it back up. I'm going to put it back in there. And I'm going to run it again. So now it's going to run through again. And while it's running through, it's also mixing. So I'm going to take my syringe, 60cc syringe. Now I'm going to scrape off what was on the edges. And then you can also clean off your spatula by running it on the back roller. So then now all I'm going to do is scoop this up and put it into the syringe. So scoop it off, and then I bounce it on the counter so that it makes the cream fall. And just continue to do that. Just get as much of the cream as you can off of your spatula. Clean the edges of your spatula. Clean the edges of your syringe. Put the plunger in. So now you just have to be really careful because you have all your cream at the top of your syringe. You got to let your cream fall down. So what we're going to do is we're going to bang it on the counter so we get the cream to fall down so that we can get that air bubble up to the top so we can get the air out. And then bounce it on the counter. We should be able to get all of the air out. So now we have a nice, smooth cream, all because of the ointment mill. Like I said, we run probably 98% of any creams, ointments, sublingual drops through this machine.